Okay, so let's get rid of that. Move this over. All right. Media assets, turn everything off. Hang on. Turn that off. Come on, act right thing. Come on. Okay, I don't know why that's there. Okay, here we go. Okay, I want to just go live. I just want to go live, people. Come on, let's go. Okay, so let's see. Are we live? Are you live? You are live. Okay, we are live, and I'm trying to get the little picture to come up right. You know how that always goes. So I'm trying to get rid of this little be right back thing. I don't know why it's showing up there. You know, I have to fight with this thing all the time. I just laugh about it because what else can I do? You know, I'm not going to get upset. So anyway, let me get this off of there. Okay, so now let me get myself on there. Here we go. So to stage, but I want to go just me, not the rest of this. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Chad Daybell versus in comparison to Charles Manson. I mean, it's a cult-like situation on both parts. So, can we just, no, I don't want it a picture. I want my camera to be showing me. So hang on, I think I know what the problem is here. If this little orange light is not on, the camera cannot see you. All right, there we go. That's fixed. So let's go. Let's get ourselves on there. Let's get ourselves on there. Here we go. Okay. Let me get myself in the middle of it, but I don't want to. This over here. Okay. I'm sorry that you're looking at that right now, but I'm going to change it. But I'm just going to give people a couple of minutes to come on in while I try to fix myself so myself can be seen, not this silly little avatar, because I don't like using the avatar. I like to, you know, be real. Let's be real. So here we go. I think it's right here that we're going to do this. No, that's wrong. We're going to, let me fix this. Okay, exit solo layout, exit. Right, okay. Now, okay. Now, I think it's right over here. I need to fix this right quick. But anyway, okay. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. Cannot post comments to some destinations. Okay, that's fine. No problem. We don't need to do that. See, I wonder if trying to put this over to X causes part of this problem. Let's see. Let's remove. Okay, remove that part. See if that fixes the problem. All right, here we go. All right. Here we go. Save changes, and there we go. Are we live for Charles Manson? I hope so. Let's see. Okay. Why can't I see myself? Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Nope. Okay. It's something to do with this right here. Just a second. All right. Cinema shift. Okay. And add myself in. Please don't do this to me. I'm begging it. I mean, where is the camera at? Okay, here we go. Save. No. Here we go. I think it's the wrong one. Hold on, folks. Listen, I'm going to move over to the other one. Okay, there we are. But we're going to go big screen. Go big screen. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, there we go. All right, now that should be fixed where we can see me, but I want to make me big. And so here we go. Let's get our comments going and share your refer. I don't know what that means, but okay, here we go. Okay, new streaming looking blah, blah, blah. Okay, there we go. Is it saying live? You are live. All right, there we go. Okay, so let me see if somebody comes in. We can make myself bigger and all that mess. Sometimes I just don't understand what's wrong. There we are. There we are. Okay, there we are. So, yes. Okay, I'm going to just start recording from right here. And I wonder why I can't see the comments. What's going on with that? Comments. Okay, comments are right there. All right, now, so I finished chapters 10, 11, and 12 of the sociopath next door. I just need to put it onto YouTube so they can be viewed or listened to or whatever. Because, I really think that book should have been some kind of like, you just listen to it while you're driving and that kind of thing. But, people use it however they want to use it, and that's fine too. So why does it not say recording? Does it not record on its own? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if it's going to record it. Yeah, it's going to record. Stay in the studio until you're. No, we're not doing that. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyway, here we go. I should be on. Where's the comment? I don't know what. Okay. It says, oh, live in 7 minutes. Oh, no, I've been live for 7 minutes. Okay, so it's so strange. I don't know. I don't like StreamYard. I think I'm going to change over to something else because this is just, it seems like it's hard to use. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel real good about StreamYard. It seems to be, okay. The viewer comments will show up on StreamYard. This is an example. Click in the comments to show on screen. Okay. There we go. There. Now, why is it showing me that? I don't want to do that. There we go. New streaming looking at. Okay, little red, new to streaming. Oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. Okay, hide that. All right, hide. I don't know what's going on with this, but I really want it to work. I don't want to be having to cancel all the time because StreamYard doesn't want to act right. I just don't like it. I don't like StreamYard, and I want to get on this. I want to get a different one. So anyway, what does it say? Why does it say that? Okay, I don't know why it's saying that, but we're just going to get rid of that. Okay, let's get rid of that and go back over here. Okay, StreamYard, we see you. Hide. Okay, so I'm just going to start talking, and when you come in, you come in. And what's a referral link? What is a referral link, y'all? Do you know what a referral link is? I don't know. Here, hide that. Okay, hide and hide. All right. So let me hide this over here so I don't have to see it and get back over to the comments. Okay. Now. Okay. So let me get my little reading glasses on. Hey there. So when I started talking about doing a comparison of Chad Daybell to Charles Manson, it was all about the cult part of it because, how in the world can you, let me see if I can get my comments to show. How in the world can you have somebody talk somebody into killing people for you or make them believe that that's the best thing for these people? I don't get it. It's kind of crazy. So can anybody hear me? And let me ask you a different question. Can you please make a comment so I can see if the comments are showing up or not? Because I'm not even sure about that today. I don't know why it looks like this. What is it saying? Okay, no, I don't want that. Okay, no, it says we're all working. Anyway, so I wanted to know what makes a person able to talk somebody else into taking other people's lives, showing that it's in the benefit of them, that it's the best thing you need to do. I mean, look at Lori Vallow. I don't understand that. How in the world could she do that? It just makes no sense at all. But then you look at Charles Manson, you're going, how can they do that? How did this crazy sociopath come up here and what did he use? What did Chad Daybell use? That's the thing I'm not sure about. So anyway, let me go over here and look on this. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure that this is actually showing up because I can see the people there, but I don't see a comment. So that kind of makes me wonder about, are we live or are we not live? Okay. It says we're live. So let me see if I can wonder about. There it is. Okay. Yes. The comments are working. We're good. Let me turn this off now. All right. Okay. So anyway, we know that I did this little outline so I can kind of talk about this, but whenever we start talking about Manson Family Manual, Mom and It Up's going to come up with me. Now, she's traveling today, and that's why she's not here. So let's go ahead on. What does this say? Edit. Okay. So here's a comparison between Charles Manson and Chad Daybell. These two figures, known for their involvement in notorious murder cases tied to occult-like ideologies and manipulative leadership. While they operated in different eras and contexts, there are striking parallels and contrasts in their stories. Yes, there is. It's kind of weird, isn't it? So I'm going to give you a little background about their personalities and them themselves. First, we're going to talk about Charles Manson. Okay. Charles Manson was born in 1941 to a troubled, unstable family in Cincinnati, Ohio. He spent much of his early life in and out of correctional institutions, shaping him into a charismatic yet volatile individual. By the late 1960s, he had become a drifter in California, blending a persona of musician and spiritual guru. Manson was small in stature at 5'2", but wielded outsized influence throughout his erratic charm and ability to exploit others and their vulnerabilities. Now, isn't that? And then I'm going to give you the same thing about Chad Daybell, and you're going to be. It's amazing how similar they really are. So, Chad Daybell, who was born in 1968 in Utah, came from a more stable religious Mormon background. He pursued a conventional path, attending Brigham Young University and later working as a cemetery worker before founding his small publishing company focused on apocalyptic fiction. Daybell presented himself as a quiet, unassuming family man, a stark contrast to Manson's wild and tactual image, but his writings and beliefs revealed a fascination with end-time scenarios that would later define his crimes. Okay, now go back and talk about Charles Manson for just a moment. Now, Charles Manson wanted to start a race war out of anger that he felt like his song was stolen by the Beach Boys, but it was not stolen. Okay, so moving along with that, and then this guy over here, Chad Daybell, wants to start a whole revolution on end times, scare people into the end times. And I mean, I understand that if you're growing up in a religious family and you were always taught that there will be an end time, that the Lord will come again. So yeah, anyway. Now, they both have a lot of the similar ideologies, which is so strange too, because we're going to talk about the ideology and their beliefs. Manson's ideology was a chaotic mix of 1960s counterculture, pseudo-spiritualism, and apocalyptic paranoia, heavily influenced by his interpretation of the Beatles' White Album, particularly the song Helter Skelter. He preached an impending race war that his followers, the Manson family, would survive to rule over. His beliefs were less structured, more improvisational, and rooted in manipulation rather than a cohort doctrine. But now here's the thing. Daybell was right on the other side of that spectrum. Daybell's worldview was grounded in fringe Mormon theology, filtered through his own doomsday writings. He and his wife, Lori Vallow Daybell, developed a system of classifying people as light or dark, with zombies marking those possessed by evil who needed to be eliminated. This belief, combined with his claims of visions of divine missions, gave his actions a pseudo-religious framework that justified murder as a sacred act, more systematic than Manson's chaotic prophecies. They both spit out prophecies. One was just more controlled. The other one was crazy. I think Manson's was driven by his drug use because, okay, now, so think about this. In our Sociopaths Next Door, we read that most sociopaths, they have some weird, most of them are addicted to drugs. It's either alcohol or drugs. So just like Hitler, Hitler was so afraid of having cancer that he had his personal doctor who made up all these concoctions so he could just so he could fight off having cancer. He would never get cancer. But the problem with that was all these concoctions made him hallucinate. He had a lot of hallucinations. And I think that's how he got into what he believed. That's how he started this genocide. I mean, that's to create these perfect people. I think that's how it was all hallucinogenics that got him into that. Just like Charles Manson, it was all hallucinogenics that got him into his thing. But Chad Daybell, his hallucinations were just created because we know from other people like Julie Rowe and a few others that Chad Daybell took their near-death experiences and turned them into his own. He didn't really have those near-death experiences. He just used theirs and made it his. Now that's really sad, isn't it? So they all have hallucinations. Whether it's self-created or drug-induced. Okay. So now we're going to go back and talk about the crimes and the cult leadership of Charles Manson. Hey there, glad to see you come in. It's okay if you're late. I don't ever care. I just need to know if y'all can make comments or not because I personally. Oh, let me see if I can see them over here on my phone. I can't see them. I don't know why, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on here. Let me turn all the phones that sound off. Here we go. Okay, let me catch up with myself. See if I can see comments. Okay, let me make a comment over here and make sure it works. Hello, all. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Will it let you? No, we're not going to filter. We're going to do all messages. Thank you. All right, there we go. So I might have to just chat with y'all over here and then just do this part over here, and that's fine. Okay. So now we're going to talk about their crimes and their cult leadership. Manson led the Manson family, a group of mostly young, disaffected followers he gathered in California. In 1969, he directed them to commit the infamous Tate LaBianca murders, resulting in 7 deaths, including actress Sharon Tate. While Manson didn't personally kill anyone, his control over his followers was so absolute that he was convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy. His motive, according to prosecutors, was to ignite helter-skelter. Through some argue that killings were also meant to frame others or free a jailed associate. Strange, isn't it? All right. Then we're going to talk about Daybell. Daybell, alongside Lori Vallow Daybell, was directly involved in the murders of his first wife, Tammy Daybell, and Lori's children, Kylie Ryan and Joshua J.J. Vallow. Their bodies were found buried in Daybell's Idaho property in 2020. Manson, Daybell participated in the killings with Tammy's death by asphyxiation and the children's gruesome disposal tied to his and Lori's shared belief and that they were obstacles to their divine plan. Daybell's cult was smaller, primarily Lori, her brother Alex Cox, but his influence was similarly rooted into the apocalyptic zeal and personal gain, e.g., the insurance money, etc. Now, there's a lot of controversy over whether Lori actually participated in killing her children or whether Chad actually participated in killing her children. They're trying to blame all of it on Alex Cox because Alex Cox is not here to speak for himself, sadly. And I think that's really unfair. So, I really just like, okay, she's also trying to blame part of, if you've watched any of the trial, she's also trying to blame part of it on Tylee, as if Tylee took her brother's life by mistake, as if Tylee is the reason why Charles has passed away, because Tylee is the one who brought the bad out. Tylee, she never takes responsibility for herself. But as we have learned from our book, sociopaths do not take responsibility. I dropped my phone, hang on. Do not take responsibility for their actions. It's always everybody else. You know that. They didn't do anything wrong. It's everybody else. They think they're smarter than everybody else as well. So now we're going to talk about their followers. Oh, my goodness. Manson's charisma drew a larger, more diverse group, hippies, runaways, and lost souls, whom he controlled through drugs, sex, and psychological domination. His followers, like Susan Atkins and Tex Watson, acted as his hands, carrying out murders and under his spell. His leadership was theatrical, leveraging to the 1960s cultural upheaval to amplify his mystique. And then Daybell's influence was more intimate and focused, centered on Lori and a handful of close associates. His manipulation leaned on the religious authority and shared delusions, reinforced by his writings and supposed visions. While Manson thrived on chaos, Daybell operated within a quieter, more calculated framework, using his unassuming demeanor to mask his intent until the crimes unraveled. Okay, think about that. Now, are y'all able to chat? Because I don't see anybody making any comments. Are you able to make comments? I need to make sure that this is working properly. I tell you, I've been looking at Streamlabs, and I'm thinking about changing because every time I try to use StreamYard, there's always some kind of little about it. I don't know. And I would like to be able to show y'all some of the videos that I've kind of pulled together that showed, some of the actions and reactions to Manson, the actions and reactions to Daybell. So we'll get to that at some point. I'll get that figured out. But for right now, we're just going to be talking about the outline between these two people and then what brought them together. What makes them have the ability to talk people into murder? Now, we know that. Here's the other thing. Now, let's talk about Chad Daybell for a minute. Remember, Chad Daybell had tried this on other people. Yeah, he has. He had tried this on Julie Rowe. The visions thing and trying to get with her and for his romantic partner and that he'd been married to her. It's all the same jargon that he used. The only thing is that Lori Vallow, because she always wanted to be the center of attention, she always had to be the most important, and her self-centeredness, she just followed along. She was finally hearing what she wanted to hear because Chad Daybell was telling her what she wanted to hear. And the thought of being an exalted being, are you kidding me? I have to ask myself, does Chad, do they have portals in their cells? I mean, are they able to, like the closet, are they able to go see each other in the cell? I don't know. I just thought this is the strangest thing. And because we are not, or most of us are, I'm going to say most of us are not mentally ill in the head, we don't believe that this could be true. I know there's religious ideology and there's hyper religion and things like that. And that is where they say Lori Vallow fits in the deal. It's her hyper religiosity that causes her to believe that Chad Daybell is exactly what he said he is. But let's face it, when somebody says they're the brother of Jesus, are you really? Okay. All right. Anyway, we'll move on along to our little outline. I was going to keep this short today because I just wanted to get started on it and talk to you a little bit about where we're coming from on this comparison to these two. And because I know that Lori Daybell's trial is headed to start at 12:30, and I don't want to interfere with that because a lot of us go to the same chat rooms, etc., or the same creators to watch these things because we all talk to each other all day during these things. So I'm going to get through my little write-up that I did, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So here we go. Their legal outcomes, well, we kind of know, right? But let's talk about it. Manson was convicted in 1971 and sentenced to death, later commuted to life in prison after California abolished the death penalty in 1972. He died in 2017 at the age of 83, unrepentant and still a cultural symbol of evil. His trial was a media circus, cementing his infamy. Okay, so we know the other one's a media. Okay, Daybell's, their trials are a media circus as well. I mean, look at Lori trying to represent herself. I mean, I would never, even if you have nothing to lose, why would you represent yourself when you can get a free attorney? I mean, she's free herself, but she cannot use her charm to get across to this jury to make them think she did nothing wrong. But that's exactly what she's doing. You can already see that she's heading down that road that, well, this was Tylee's fault. And the blaming the emergency personnel, well, the CPR they did, he was probably still alive until they did that CPR. It's their fault. So, I mean, that's what it looks like she's doing this. So, wow, it just is mind blowing to me that somebody could sit there and tell that to the world. I don't understand her. I just don't, I guess because I'm not sick in the head, I can't understand her beliefs or her thinking. Let's just put it that way. Daybell was convicted in May of 2024 of murder, conspiracy, and insurance fraud, and sentenced to death on June 1, 2024 in Idaho, where the death penalty remains active. His trial, though a high profile, was less sensational than Manson's, reflecting a modern media landscape and a case tied more to personal betrayal than social upheaval. As of March 26, 25, he awaits execution with appeals likely pending. Of course, they automatically get an appeal. When you get the death sentence, you automatically get an appeal. Okay. But they have to think if you watch that whole trial, what grounds does he have to appeal on? That judge made sure that they did everything right. I just don't think he'll win an appeal, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, and I admit it, and that's okay too. Now let's talk about their key similarities. Their cult-like control. Both used apocalyptic ideologies to justify murder and exerted profound influence over their followers. That is a true statement. The masterminds of murder. Neither acted alone. They relied on others, Manson's family and Daybell's wife and brother-in-law, to execute their plans. And that's a true statement. Okay, my clock's going to go off. Y'all hang on. It's grandfather clock. It just, because I'm downstairs today. I'm not in my little office. I'm downstairs. I'm going to let it ring and then we'll proceed on. So, okay. Okay, it's not going to strike 10, good. All right, or 11. So, and the other thing is they use charismatic manipulation. Each exploited vulnerable individuals. Manson's through counterculture allure and Daybell's through a religious devotion. Now, I also want to talk about as far as the Daybell situation goes. Okay, so we know that Melanie Gibb was given immunity in the state of Idaho. But let me ask you something. And, I hope everybody has thought about this. But don't you think that if you knew these people were dangerous and that they were talking about these things that could basically take the life of people that they thought were zombies because they decided they were zombies, Don't you think you should have talked to somebody? Don't you think she should have went to the law and said, hey, listen, I think that these people are planning something and I don't feel comfortable and I need to let you know about it. I mean, I don't understand. How can you sit back, go through this and participate in this and not realize that something bad is going to come out of it? Something very bad is going to come out of it. Okay. Now, the key differences. Scale and style. Manson's crimes were a broader, more public, targeting strangers to speak chaos, while Daybell's were personal, eliminating family members for convenience and ideology. Direct involvement. Manson's didn't kill. Daybell did, making his culpability more hands-on. Cultural context. Manson's embodied the dark side of the 1960s, the hippie movement, while Daybell's crimes reflect a modern niche in religious extremism. Yes, it is. In fact, Daybell, from what I remember, and I'm gonna give credit to Hidden True Crimes here because they brought this out about this little portion of the Mormon religion that these people had went back to make it to use that what they were doing was correct, that was the right thing to do, that they had these been married multiple times in other lives, etc. So I think that was a very interesting, and I would like to study a little bit more about that because I'm not Mormon, and I didn't really know much about the Mormon religion until we started watching the Daybell situation unfold. And then as I listened to some of these other podcasters, etc., I was like to myself, I thought, that is so interesting. I would like to know more about that. So, and now we're going to talk about the conclusion as to why you can compare these two to each other, that they both were cult leaders in their own way, that they both had the ability to talk people into killing for them, even though we know or we assume that Daybell actually did participate. I mean, there's no way that Alex could have done all this by himself. There's just no way. I mean, I will never believe that there was any way Alex could do all of this by himself. And I don't know if Lori participated in putting the tape in the plastic bag on that poor baby or not. And I hate thinking about that. How could she? Hey, Mom and Dad, I'm glad you're listening. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know how well it's going. I'm so glad that you could chat because what I'm seeing in chat is something completely weird that I've not seen before. But anyway, we'll just keep going here. Like I said, I was going to keep it short to just talk about the comparisons. And then when Mom and Up has time and we can really get into our Manson family book and I get a little more information on the backstory of Daybell, we can bring that back into our big series of Facts or Is It? So the conclusion to this is Charles Manson and Chad Daybell represent different flavors of the same poison. The charismatic leaders who twisted ideology into violence. Manson was loud, anarchic force of nature, leaving a bloody mark on pop culture. Daybell was subtler, colder schemer, whose crimes devastated those closest to him under a veneer of pity. And you know what? We talked about that also in our sociopath book, The Sociopath Next Door. It talks about the sociopaths. It's the pity. People pity them. They pity them. That's how these people get along. That's how they make it throughout the world, devastating everybody else's lives around them. But not their own. But I mean, eventually, the sociopath, in most cases, ends up alone and have devastated, and nobody in their family wants anything to do with them because they have put themselves in that situation by their actions their entire lives. They do not know how to discipline themselves, not with money, not with other people, not with their job. I mean, it's like everything is a free-for-all for them. They just don't think like we do. They don't have sound minds. That's what I want to say. Daybell, both show belief when warped by ego and delusion can turn deadly, whether shouted from a commune or whispered in a quiet Idaho home. Now, that's really just my outline about this. I wanted to bring that forward so we could be prepared to talk about it on our next live when we actually start getting into our Manson book. And I hope y'all enjoyed this. It was just a little short to bring you up to speed to what we're going to do, what we're going to talk about, and see what you're interested in. Because I have some videos that I want to bring over of both Manson and Daybell and let you listen to just a little bit of what they're saying and then compare that amongst yourselves. So you can say, oh, wow, I didn't catch that before, or I did catch that before. Because so many times we don't catch things the first time we hear it. And we don't realize what it is until we've listened to it a few times. And then we don't compare it to anything until we realize there's something to compare it to. So my dog's about to bark. I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to let y'all go. I want to see you later. I'm sure we'll all be over there on Lori Ballard's trial. If you get a chance to listen to this while you're driving, please do. It's very interesting, and it'll help you understand where we're going with our Manson family manual and compare it to our Chad Daybell case. So see you later. Enjoy your drive. Thank you, Momming It Up. I love you. Please be careful driving those babies cross country. Have a good evening, and I'll talk to you later. Call me when you get done. When you get somewhere, Mom, please call me. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye, y'all. Have a good day. Bye. Mm-hmm.